So we have breaking news, and this breaking news is about Dragon Ball GT. Believe it or not, I didn't believe it at all, but now that we're getting reports on Dragon Ball GT, I had to say something about it. So, what ended up happening was that there was an interview with executive producer Akio Iyoku, who seems to be the spokesperson for the Dragon Ball anime as of right now, and Todd Blankenship is the person who put the interview on online, and now we get to see exactly what connection Dragon Ball GT has to the most recent Dragon Ball anime that they've come out with, which is of course Dragon Ball Daima. Executive producer Akio Yoku discusses Daima's origin. 6 years ago, during DBS Superheroes production, they decided to do a new TV series. At first, Toriyama's involvement was going to be minimal, but he really got into it, creating most of it at the end, which makes sense. And honestly, if they could just decide to make a TV series, why not just bring Dragon Ball Super back? I have no idea. Yoku says that Daima was intended as a show that parents could watch with their children, so it was made to appeal to both to kids and to adults in their 30s who were kids back when Dragon Ball GT first aired. So yes, making Goku and Co-Kids was specifically done to appeal to the GT generation, which is hilarious because a lot of the criticism for Dragon Ball Daima is the fact that they are children. A lot of the artwork that we see for Dragon Ball Daima makes them into adults again with their new outfits or Vegeta's new transformation. So I understand that they're trying to appeal to Dragon Ball GT fans in the past, but honestly, like, this is not something that a lot of us really wanted. We wanted it to move forward and keep continuously going back like this. It just sours, honestly, it just sours their, what we believe their creativity to be, because if you can't be creative and make something new, I mean, you're gonna fall back into the past. That's, at least for me. I like the show now, I really do. Do I believe that they needed to be children for me to like it? No, not at all. While making Goku a kid was seen as making the series accessible to a wider audience, it was Toriyama's idea to turn the entire main cast into kids too. Toriyama was also concerned many people wouldn't know Dragon Ball's story, hence the general overview at the start of each Daima episode, which is why we get the little explanation of what Dragon Ball is. Let's be honest. People who love Dragon Ball are the only ones watching Daima. There's not like a guy that's never seen Dragon Ball, which would be rare, and he's just like, you know what, let me put on Dragon Ball Daima. No, they put on Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super first. They would never put on Dragon Ball Daima. But here is where we get to the genius of Toriyama, because with the slight change of making everyone children, he made the show far more entertaining. Because if it was just Goku again, like everybody else was trying to make it happen, honestly, it would have been the exact same thing and it would have been boring. So Toriyama's secret sauce in this definitely worked its way at the end. But I think that partly Toriyama did this because he just wanted to make everybody into kids, like make their children designs and stuff like that. Compared to the movies, there was more time to develop Daima's story, with much back and forth with Toriyama to flesh things out, so much so that the story wasn't fully completed by the time the anime production had begun, similar to the original manga's run in that regard. Which, what is he saying? What is he saying? That basically by the end of it, they hadn't completed the story yet, but by the time they started the production of Daima, they hadn't completed the story? Oh, okay, so that's what they're saying. So they're saying the manga was the same way. He started the manga with no real ending to it until, so he had to kind of make it up as he goes, which I guess it's like Toriyama's specialty to do that. He's done it with multiple stories. I feel like that's why the endings are kind of, they're kind of wonky. If you look at most of the arcs endings that are in Toyotaro's, like they are, I mean, just look at Goku Black's ending. That one to me showcases how that process can be a problem. Among the various new bits of backstory revealed in Daima, Iyoku was particularly surprised by the idea that people with pointed ears originally came from the demon realm. He believed Toriyama had this vaguely in his mind for a while and didn't just come up with it for Daima's sake. No. I'm sorry, Yoku. I know you want to believe that Toriyama, just like I would, had been up all night, restlessly, couldn't fall asleep, trying to figure out what how to make the pointy ears fit in a story sense with the grand scheme of things. No, this is just like the SLs and Yamoshi. No, he just created this. I guarantee you he was on set. He was basically looking over the paperwork, and maybe he scratched his ear or something. And he was like, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and change this story element because I believe that all people with pointed ears came from the demon realm. That sounds more like Akira Toriyama to me. I don't believe that he had planned this at all from any sort of beginning whatsoever. He probably came up with this on set, probably the day of. Iyoku wants to expand Dragon Ball and thinks it will still be loved even 50 years from now, but he's not specific on future plans. Of course he's not. Why would he tell us anything about what's going on in Dragon Ball at all? Like, we just have to like guess in the future, like, oh, maybe this will happen, maybe that will happen. There is no roadmap when it comes to Dragon Ball. It's not like Marvel where they have a 10-year plan like they're always putting out there for the MCU. He concludes by saying Daima's climax will be both predictable. Hold on, let me read that again. Daima's climax will be both predictable and unpredictable in parts, and rewatching from the beginning afterwards will heighten the fun. So he wants people to rewatch Daima, which is probably the reason they had the dub come out like 4 months later, which was lame in my opinion. Like, they should have had it come out the day of, so that way people had the option. I'm sure people are going to go back and rewatch Daima in English. I probably will be one of those people, and I understand, yes, Iyoku, more than likely that will be a lot of fun when I have to rewatch Daima again just to get some of the bits that I missed prior or before or whatever. But I understand also that the ending is going to be predictable because it is a prequel. So the ending cannot change from where we start off from Dragon Ball Super. Like, you can't change any of the history there. So in the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, Goku's on King Kai's planet. I believe that's the beginning. At least, no, that's the beginning of the movie. In the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, I think Goku's a farmer and he's in his field. Even in the manga, he's in his field and he's training. So he's back on Earth, right? And yeah, he's back on Earth, he's chilling, and then he decides to go to King Kai's planet. And we have Vegeta still training, but then it's Bulma's birthday again. And we can't change from there. It has to stay the same. I'm hoping the unpredictable parts lead to hints of a further story in the manga. That's probably what I am most excited to see from Dragon Ball Daima's ending, which should be this month. But anyway, I'm hoping you guys enjoyed that. Dragon Ball GT, I guess, is the reality of Dragon Ball Daima, so I guess they did remake it. To me, they're not done remaking things, and we'll probably get cooler BoJack, you know, we're gonna get those next. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.